Hey guys, it's Alexandra from EyeLoveKnots.com and CreationCrochet.com. Today I'm going to be showing you how to work this woven Celtic Weave pattern in the round. I have been working on a tutorial of how to make this pattern, which is called the Celtic Weave bauble ornament. I still have a little ways to go on that tutorial, but I wanted to get a video out showing how to do this pattern that's here in the center. Now this stitch pattern is great for so many different projects, and I'm going to be showing you how to do it in the round. So anything that you can do in the round, you can use this for, like a basket or a stocking or a cowl, an infinity scarf, a beanie. All kinds of really cool things that you can do in the round with this pattern. The only thing to note as you're working this Celtic Weave pattern is that you're going to want to have a stitch multiple of 4. So that means that the previous round, or the number of chains if you're starting from the beginning, needs to be a multiple of 4. Evenly divisible by 4, because the repeat of the Celtic Weave pattern is 4 stitches. This stitch pattern is a 2 round repeat. That means that you repeat the same 2 rounds throughout the whole entire thing. So once you get it set up, you work those first 2 rounds, then you just repeat that for as many rounds as you want. You can stop on any round, so it doesn't have to be an even place where you stop. You can stop on either repeat of this. And then once you finish your project, if you want to add a couple rounds of double crochet, single crochet, half double crochet, just to give it a finished edge, or in this case to decrease down, you just work those stitches evenly into each stitch all the way around. I'll pop the link to these ornaments down in the description box below, but let's go ahead and get started with this Celtic Weave stitch tutorial. We're going to start with a chain 2. This chain 2 is not going to count as a stitch. We're going to be working post stitches. I'm going to actually pull up a loop here really quick so I can go over this. Normally we work into the top of the stitch here, picking up the 2 loops from the V shape at the top. This is working into the stitch. Directly below that stitch is this post right here. This is what we're going to be working around. So for working front post stitches, we're going to insert our hook into the space to the right in between the stitch we want to work our stitch around and the previous one. Right in between those 2 stitches, not into the actual stitch at the top like normal, but below that. You insert your hook there, you wrap it around the back of the post, and you exit through the space that is to the left of that post in between that current stitch and the one after that. And when you come out, you have the post on your hook. And you can see I've just lifted it there. I've gone just to the side and behind it and come out the other side. This is working around the post, and this is what we're going to be doing here. So we're working front post treble crochets. To start, we're going to yarn over 2 times so that there are 3 loops on our hook. I like to put my fingers on it to hold the tension. We're going to go down to the stitches. You can see here that this stitch where our chain is coming out of, just below that is the very first half double crochet, and then after that is the second half double crochet. We're going to skip each of those 2 stitches. And we're going to work our first front post treble crochet around the next post. So I'm going to insert my hook into the space to the right of the stitch, working in between those 2 stitches. Wrap my hook around the back of the stitch, coming out the space just to the left of it, in between it and the next stitch. I have the post on my hook. Then I'm going to yarn over, pull directly through. I now have 4 loops on my hook. Yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over, pull through 2 loops. We're going to front post treble crochet around the next one as well. Yarn over 2 times, hold the tension, go down to the fabric. It's really easy to see where that previous stitch is pulling the post from, so there's a nice little hole there that's very easy to see and work into. So I'm going to insert my hook here into the space to the right of the next stitch that I want. Wrap it around the back of that stitch, come out the space to the left of it, in between it and the next stitch. I have just the post on my hook. Yarn over, pull directly through. There are 4 loops on my hook. Yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over, pull through 2 loops. And now we have the very first 2 front post treble crochets worked. This round is the easiest for working these next 2 stitches because we're working over top of them. The next round we're going to be working from behind, and it's a little bit trickier. So we're going to go ahead and yarn over 2 times. We're going to go back to those first 2 half double crochets that we skipped in the beginning. We're going to first work into that very first half double crochet, the one that is just below where our chain is coming out of. So as I'm holding the tension on my hook here, I'm going to swoop it down, and I'm going to work downward at an angle so that I can get to that very first stitch. And I'm going to insert my hook into the space in between that and the chain next to it. Wrap it around the back of that stitch, come out the space in between it and the stitch to the left. Just as I did before, I'm just working backwards. Then yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over, pull through 2 loops. Now we have this crisscross thing here, and it's going to flatten out after we work the next couple stitches. But you see that we still have 1 stitch left there in between, and that is the second half double crochet that we skipped in the beginning. Yarn over 2 times, hold the tension, swoop down, insert my hook into the space to the right of that post, come out the space to the left, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over, pull through 2 loops. And now we have the first 4 stitches complete here, and you can already see that those 2 that we just worked are now laying flat on top of the other ones. We're going to continue working in this manner all the way around. So the repeat is going to be skip each of the next 2 stitches, front post treble crochet around each of the next 2 posts, then working in front of those 2, front post treble crochet into each of those 2 skip stitches. So I'm yarning over 2 times, skipping each of the next 2 stitches, and then I'm going to work a front post double crochet around the next post. And I'm going to front post double crochet around the next post. Now working in front of those, I'm going to yarn over here to get my 2 loops. I'm going to front post treble crochet around the first skipped half double crochet. And then front post treble crochet around the second skipped half double crochet there. And there's my set of 4 stitches. Yarn over 2 times, skip each of the next 2 stitches, front post treble crochet around the next stitch, front post treble crochet around the next stitch, front post double crochet around the post of the first stitch I skipped here, and front post treble crochet around the next post of the second stitch I skipped. And there we are, 4 more stitches. So you're going to continue working this repeat, skip each of the next 2 stitches, front post treble crochet around each of the next 2 stitches, then front post treble crochet around each of the skipped stitches, starting with the very first one. All the way around. It's going to work out evenly here. Once we finish the last set, we're going to slip stitch join to the very first treble crochet of the round, and then the round will be complete. Here I am at the end. I've just worked my last set of 4 stitches. I'm going to go ahead and find the first treble crochet, which is not the beginning chain, but the very first stitch we worked, and I'm going to slip stitch join there. Now we're going to start working the post stitches behind instead of in front of, and we're going to alternate in front and behind for each remaining round that we have. So we're going to start with a chain 2. Again, that does not count as a stitch. We're going to skip each of the first 4 stitches, so that's going to be these 4 here, the 2 trebles that are behind, and the 2 trebles that are on top of. And our very first stitch is going to be around the next post. So I'm going to yarn over 2 times, skip each of these first 4 stitches, front post double crochet around the next post, and it's really easy to work these as you just insert here to the right of it, come out the space to the left in between it and the next stitch as normal, and then complete your treble crochet. We're going to work another front post treble crochet around the next stitch. So we have our first 2 stitches done. Now we're going to work behind these stitches to work our front post treble crochets into these 2 stitches that we skipped before it. We're going to yarn over 2 times. Hold the tension here, swoop your hook downward and behind those 2 stitches you just finished working. So we want the hook to push downward and behind those 2 treble crochets that we just finished. So you can see my hook popping out of the bottom, and those 2 treble crochets are sitting on top of my hook at the moment. I'm going to continue to push downward so that I can get to that very first treble crochet there that is sitting on top. Now I'm going to pull that stitch upward and move these treble crochets that are on top of my hook down so it's easier for me to see my stitch. And now I have those loops I started with, and this is the treble crochet post on my hook. Now I can yarn over and pull through and complete my treble crochet. Now we need to work another treble crochet around that second skipped treble crochet that's on top there. Yarn over 2 times, swoop your hook down and behind those first 2 treble crochets you worked. So again, you see my hook popping out of the bottom, and those 2 trebles are on top of my hook. Continue pushing downward so I can get that second treble crochet onto my hook. Then I'm going to pull these treble crochets down as I pull my hook up so that I can see my treble crochet better. And then I'm going to yarn over and pull through and complete my treble crochet. And there's the very first 4 stitches of this round. We have started working these 2 treble crochets over here. Then we worked behind those treble crochets to get to these 2 here that we skipped just before it. So here in the beginning you still have 2 skipped treble crochets, the very first 2, but you have now worked into the 3rd and 4th one. Here's where our repeat begins. Yarn over 2 times. I'm going to skip each of the next 2 stitches, and then I'm going to front post double crochet around each of the next 2 posts here. Now I'm going to yarn over 2 times. I'm going to be working my front post double crochets into these first 2 skip stitches, but working behind these treble crochets I just finished. So I'm holding the tension, swoop down and around to the back of those 2 treble crochets that I just finished working. Continue pushing downward so I can pick up the post from the first skip stitch on my hook. Then push these treble crochets that are sitting on my hook down as I bring my crochet hook up so I can see my stitch better. Yarn over, pull through, complete my treble crochet. Yarn over 2 times, swoop my hook downward and behind those first 2 treble crochets, and then continue pushing downward so I can get that second treble crochet onto my hook. Pull these 2 treble crochets down as I bring my crochet hook up so I can see that stitch better. Yarn over, pull through, and complete my treble crochet. And now we have the second set done here. So the only time we skip the 4 is in the beginning. After that we just skip 2, work into the next 2, and then go back and work into those skipped 2. And it's going to take on this woven effect here. Repeat again, yarn over 2 times, skip each of the next 2 stitches, the ones that are sitting on top, treble crochet around each of the next 2 stitches, which are the ones that are sitting underneath. Now we're going to treble crochet around each of those first 2 skip stitches, starting with the very first one, working behind. Alright, there's our next set of 4 stitches. The repeat one more time, yarn over 2 times, skip each of the next 2 stitches, front post treble crochet around each of the next 2 stitches, Now working behind those 2 stitches, we're going to treble crochet into each of those 2 skip stitches, starting with the first one. And now we continue with this repeat all the way around until we're back to the beginning. I'm going to go ahead and work off camera all the way around here until I get to the final set. I will show the final set and then we'll slip stitch join the round together. I have here my last 2 stitches of the round and then the first 2 skip stitches over here. So I'm going to go ahead and skip those last 2 stitches, front post treble crochet around each of those first 2 skip stitches of the round. Then work the last 2 around those 2 skip stitches, working behind these stitches. As normal, the same way as we've done all the rest of them. And then I'm going to slip stitch join to the very first treble crochet of the round. And this round is now complete. And there's your Celtic Weave pattern coming along nicely there. Let me get you started with this next round just because we're now working around the post stitches instead of the half double crochets. But these are going to be the 2 rounds that you're going to alternate the whole time you're working this Celtic Weave pattern. So when working in front of, we start with a chain 2, we skip each of the first 4 stitches, just as we did in the previous round, and we treble crochet around each of the next 2 stitches. Now we're going to front post treble crochet around those 2 skip stitches just before where we've just worked these. We're going to leave those first 2 ones for the end. Yarn over 2 times, swoop down in front of the stitches this time to the very first skip stitch and treble crochet, and then treble crochet around the next skip stitch. And there's the first set of 4, leaving those first 2 stitches skipped for now. Skip each of the next 2 stitches, front post treble crochet around each of the next 2 stitches, now front post treble crochet around each of those 2 skip stitches, starting with the first one, and when we work, we're going to work over the front, crossing over the front of those 2 that we just finished. And that's the repeat for this round. It's going to be skip each of the next 2 stitches, front post treble crochet around the next 2, then front post treble crochet around each of those 2 skip stitches, starting with the first one, working over the front. You work all the way around until you get to the last 2 stitches here, and you're going to do the same exact thing. You're going to work your first 2 front post treble crochets around the very first 2 skip stitches, and then work over the front to complete those last 2 treble crochets, and then slip stitch join to the first stitch. The next round is going to be worked behind, So you do the same thing, skip the first 4 stitches, front post treble crochet around each of the next 2 stitches, then working behind those stitches, front post treble crochet into the 2 skip stitches previously, leaving those first 2 to be completed at the end. So we just alternate working in front of and behind. Guys, thanks so much for watching my video. You'll find the link to this Celtic Weave bauble ornament in the description box below. Drop me a comment below letting me know what you're going to make working the Celtic Weave pattern in the round. And if there's a specific project that you're interested in seeing worked in the Celtic Weave stitch pattern, let me know that too. Please smash that like button and hit subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next one.